Hi guys, Andrew here. Just coming back with an update on what's happened since I last posted up a couple of videos. So I'm not going to go into what it is I'm trying to solve because I went into quite a bit of detail in the last videos. But suffice to say, Seller have come back with a suggestion, and that's what I'm going to show to you. They've suggested not using G2 quite so much on the MIDI side, but using Quartz to handle the MIDI functions, which is fine because it was kind of pretty much there anyway before. So just as before, I've got my patches. I've got blues and rock, the next one, which represent songs, which songs I have to actually program in there when I get to them. But let's talk about blues. So blues sets up the MIDI devices. It gives me a default rotary speaker sound, just like it did in the previous videos, except this time it deactivates it by default. To activate it when I play, I've mapped this toggle switch. This toggle switch activates and deactivates, and that's all it does. So for instance, if I strum, no sound, activate, swirly sound, turn it off. So that's like the modulation on and off switch, basically. Now I want to go to my wah sound. I'm playing along, I get to my solo, I want to kick in the wah, I press this button here. That turns that to be the wah, also sets that up to control the H9. Sounds like this. So I'm done doing my wah solo and I want to go back to the default situation. I tap that one, and you can see it goes back to the default modulation setting, which is the swirly thingamajiggy, and deactivates it. And to activate it I have to do the toggle thing, but that's fine. So every function has a single button push to turn on, single button push to turn off. One of the issues with where I got to before was there was a particular situation that required a couple of button pushes, and I was trying to reduce that and make it a bit easier. Okay, so how did I do that? I think for the most part it's self-explanatory. That talks to that using MIDI, that maps to that particular program change, and understands that that is a toggle active or not active situation. So that's fairly straightforward. This is a little bit different. So for each patch I actually use two MIDI stacks. One MIDI stack is the default, okay, which gets recalled here with this button, and the other one is a completely different MIDI stack. In this particular case, the wah functionality is assigned to MIDI stack 128, and 128 tells it that it needs to talk to this and talk to that and set those up so that we can get the sounds that we need. Just as an example, these can change on a patch by patch basis. So if I press and hold, I go to rock. Okay, sets everything up just like in the last videos. The toggle works exactly the same, everything works exactly the same, except the H9 wah is actually a pitch shift whammy style effect. So just to run you through really quickly, there's the phaser, no phaser, toggle, phaser on, phaser off, back to normal, go to the whammy, change over there, sounds like this. Go back to the default setting, does exactly the same, goes back to the phaser, deactivates it, and I'm back in the setting I was before. And that's pretty much how you do it. The only other thing I've added since the last time, I've added an H9 hot switch, which uses a TRS, and that's like using the performance button on that, so it comes in handy sometimes and gives you access to some good stuff. Obviously, in lieu of that, you can always set that up and use an expression pedal to control whatever parameters you want the H9, but that's not what I've done in this case. As you remember from the previous videos, all my default patches, this is used to control how much delay I have. So there's some delay there, push it down all the way, all the way back. There you go, dry as a bone. And that's basically it. That's how it's set up at the moment, so I'm pretty happy with that. So thanks to the guys from Quartz, from Seller rather, for their advice. and hope that makes sense. Cheers.